What's going on, guys? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and let's get into it. All right, so Secret Invasion, the final episode is out. It's here. We know everything now, except we don't really know anything. I thought Secret Invasion is a lot of setup. It doesn't really give you a lot of information, uh, but it leads into it. It directly leads into the Marvels, which that's coming up. Couple more weeks or whatever. The Marvels, and it's clearly setting up what they've been teasing for a few years now. It was going to be a Disney Plus series, but now it's going to actually be a movie, Armor Wars, with Colonel Rhodes. So we know that James Rhodes. Well, first of all, and if you haven't seen Secret Invasion, you need to watch it. I thought, like I said, it was okay, because nothing. I mean, the two worst Disney Plus shows I've seen, and some people don't hate Hawkeye. I thought Hawkeye was good, and it was it had some good points to it. I understand why certain people don't like it, but the worst two Disney Plus shows are She-Hulk and Miss Marvel. And I can't, depending on the day of the week, I'll say She-Hulk, and then the next day I'll say Miss Marvel, because I think those were both equally bad. But at the moment, as I'm filming this, I'd say Miss Marvel is the bottom it's the gum on my shoe, and then right above that gum would be She-Hulk, and then anyway. But Secret Invasion, I thought Secret Invasion in that, it's set up a lot of stuff that I hope that they can pay off. But as far as like major cameos and stuff like that, we got what's his name? The guy Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman. I had to look at my notes. Martin Freeman is Everett K. Ross. He was in that first episode. He turned out to be a Skrull, and then of course they had Maria Hill in there. And they ended up in the second episode, I guess they took her out, which a lot of people were shocked by, or they thought she might be a Skrull or something like that. Well, unfortunately, when the finale aired, she's still no longer with us. So I always liked her character, and the fact that she's been there since the first Avengers movie, and she's still in the MCU, and it's been over a decade and something, like 15 years or whatever since they launched the MCU, or almost, and all the different movies that she's been in, for her not to be there anymore, that's kind of, because a lot of people, oh, she's a Skrull, she'll just, that person that died was not really her. Like I said, she's still gone, unfortunately. What's it, Colby Smulders? I like her. But let's talk about what's going to happen now that they've set everything up. Because I saw some people's like, Nick Fury has a wife? That's actually, if you've been paying attention to the MCU, Nick Fury actually said in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, when he was talking to Steve Rogers, he mentioned that there was a Mrs. Fury. But some people thought, oh, he was just talking in code, because he knew, because he put the bug in Captain America's apartment, he knew that place had a listening device in it so that people could listen. So him telling Captain America that he had a wife, some people say, oh, he was just speaking in code. Well, he wasn't. He actually had a wife, and his wife was a Skrull, and he knew she was a Skrull. He fell in love with a Skrull and married her. So that's the wife that he was talking about in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The big thing is, yes, James Rhodes is a Skrull, but now with the finale, we know for sure when he was abducted. If you look at the end, when Emilia Clarke, Nick Fury and Emilia Clarke's character, they were having their battles to save the world and everything. When Emilia Clarke won her battle and they had to free all the humans, like the Skrulls would take prominent leaders, and then they had it, they kept them alive in those pods with their with the neural links, so that they could read their minds and get their innermost thoughts and secrets and everything, right? So we know for a fact when they took Rhodes, because he still had in in his pod, he was still in his gown from the hospital. So when did they take him? If you watch Captain America Civil War and that big battle, that's where they introduced Spider-Man into the MCU, and the battle was going on, and War Machine and Captain War Machine and Iron Man, they were doing their thing, and the Vision was trying to, I think he was trying to shoot Falcon down. He was trying to hit Falcon, and his targeting, he got knocked off target, and it hit Rhodes. Rhodes was up there flying in the War Machine armor, and when he shot that beam out his head, it hit Rhodey instead of hitting he was trying to hit the Falcon's wings, so he'd have to come down, right? He hit Rhodey by mistake, and it paralyzed Rhodey. So we now know that, and then Tony used some Stark technology to help do, spinal replacement so he'd be able to walk or whatever. But the Rhodey that's at the end of Captain America, the Civil War, after his surgery and everything, is a Skrull. So when they took him when he was in the hospital. That's when they took him. So we know that now. So the James Rhodes that was in Infinity War and Endgame, that Rhodey was a Skrull. The Rhodey that met with the Falcon in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was still the Skrull. And then he went through the ranks and ended up working directly for the president in the White House. So we know that for a fact now. So when Emilia Clarke, released him at the end, that's supposed to lead into Armor Wars. That's supposed to lead into Armor Wars, and apparently, Vanessa DeVontae, Contessa Valentina DeFontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. She's the anti-Nick Fury. She's the dark Nick Fury. She's doing the same thing that Nick Fury does, except she has her own agenda or whatever. And we know that Contessa DeFontaine, a lot of the things she's going to do are going to both lead to the Red Hulk being introduced into the MCU, and it's going to reintroduce Ultron. The rumors are that some of the it's going to bring the X-Men in, because they're going to find adamantium, which will lead to Wolverine and the whole deal. But a lot of the stuff that she's doing is going to apparently reintroduce Ultron. Now, we don't know if James Spader is going to be back as the voice of Ultron, because everything I've read, they haven't mentioned that James Spader has agreed to come back yet. The rumors are on Captain America Brave New World that Robert Downey Jr. was shot some scenes, some kind of hologram stuff or whatever, a couple weeks ago before the SAG-AFTRA strike was started. So that's been heavily reported by some pretty credible sources, not just blog pages, that Robert Downey Jr. was on the set of Captain America 4. So somehow we're going to get Robert Downey Jr. back. Somehow Ultron is going to be revived, and the real Rhodey, now that the Skrull Rhodey has been exposed and removed, is going to star in an Armor Wars movie now. It's like I said, it's not going to be a Disney Plus series, because originally when they announced it, it was going to be a Disney Plus show. It's going to be on the big screen now, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I'm curious to see how they're going to do some of the world building, because like I said, some of the stuff in Secret Wars, it directly leads him, because Nick Fury and his wife going back up into space. Emilia Clarke's character is working with the British government on something, which that's rumored to be that they're going to create Excalibur, which I'm curious to see. I used to read Excalibur back in the day, and because the head of the British SIS, her code name is Captain Britain or whatever, and her apparently her grandfather or whatever was the original Captain Britain and some things. So it sounds like they're setting up Excalibur. So I'm curious about that. If they're doing Excalibur, I need to know, because I used to, when Chris Claremont, what was it? Chris Claremont, what was it? Alan Davis were on that comic. I used to read that. I read that for years because I didn't know Chris Claremont was British or Canadian or whatever. It's like, I think he was born in Britain and then moved to Canada or something. I know John Byrne was born in Britain as well. But yeah, Excalibur. I used to read Excalibur all the time. So, and there were rumors that they were trying to get Henry Cavill to join the MCU and be Captain Britain. So if they're setting certain things up, if they could, I know Henry Cavill's doing that Warhammer thing, and he was supposed to be Highlander, but I'm hearing that movie is like having production delays, and now we've got the strike and everything. So I don't know if he would even be available to do a MCU commitment now, but that would be awesome if they could get Henry Cavill to come in and be Captain Britain, and then Emilia Clarke's character, and then they could probably do Kit Harington since they had set him up as the Black Knight in the Eternals movie. They had set him up as the Black Knight, so they would have that. They could bring Henry Cavill in. They got Emilia Clarke. They could do and they could do a version of Excalibur, which I think would be incredible. I would love to see that. But there's so much that so many questions I have now that Secret Invasion is over. But I'm very curious if you guys watched it, if you did like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please check out my podcast at anchor.fm/Ikari Press, or just type in Ikari Press on your favorite streaming platform today.